Ear to the Ground podcast.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Ear to the Ground podcast with myself, Faith, Danny and Billy.
On this week's episode, we have got the news, the most recent news, and I'm going to talk about the film Thor. I don't know. Not the number 4. Thor.
Thor.
Yeah.
TH, God of Thunder.
Yeah, well, we know what that means. And then Reverend and the Makers and their most recent album, The Death of a King, which we have all been listening to. So shall we go on to the news with Billy? News.
Yeah, so the news that came out this
Thought we weren't
week.
going to get there then.
Mate, I absolutely lined him up perfectly there and he just didn't want to take it, did he?
Left a space for a jingle.
You don't have to leave space for stuff, it's editing.
It's making my job easier, all right.
Oh, shut up.
So Kevin Spacey this week has, he was accused of, as part of the, ongoing Harvey Weinstein allegations, I guess.
It is coming out massively, isn't
it?
Like,
You can't go anywhere. I didn't want to talk about this again, but you can't really go.
I disagree with this, whole sort of way
Going
around
about it.
So
Yeah,
basically what happened was an actor called Anthony Rapp accused Kevin Spacey of making advances on him when he was 14, which was 30 years ago. Which is obviously, it's really bad. Yeah. And he sort of apologised without denying it, hasn't he?
No, he's just said, "Oh well, I don't have any recollection."
Yeah.
Which is, and I feel like we sort of, this is the only news we've sort of covered like recently, but it's the biggest
I know. I didn't want to do this
it?
again, but that's all that's in the news.
Do you know what, mate?
I really didn't want to do this again, but I have no other options.
Well, I've been working today, and I've been pretty bored, so I've been on The Guardian. My favourite journalist, Owen Jones.
Straight on to your manager.
Yeah, and anyway, so he said something about it, and I think I completely agree with it. He's like, "How dare you?" Like the way that he's sort of tried to deflect the fact that he's forced himself on a minor to say, "Oh, I'm coming out and I'm living as a gay man," is just absolutely ridiculous.
It is a little bit, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, I guess it's just obviously. It's because people don't want to criticize him when he's coming out as gay, do they? But
he's gone about it the complete wrong way, hasn't he? Like because Owen Jones is a gay man, and he's like, it's a landmark for gay men, and if you look at the history of it all, how gay men or whatever, it was associated with being a paedophile and like perverts and stuff, and then the way he's gone about it is just going to go back to them days. Like, it's an easy link to say, oh, well, that's... Do you know what I mean? What I'm trying to say? It's just... I think it's just completely the wrong way.
And off the back of that, they cancelled House of Cards as well. Yeah. Which I haven't watched, but it's been on my list for ages.
I've watched it all, and I'm pretty good.
Well, lots of people have been like, we don't care, keep it on. And it's like, what, even though the main person might be a paedophile.
Apparently they were on about... they were trying to campaign that they would just get rid of Frank Underwood, Kevin Spacey's character, and keep his wife on it, who is like, she's like the vice president at the moment. That's a big spoiler on House of Cards, I guess.
Well then.
But yeah,
don't have to watch it now, do
I? But yeah, it's. I think that could work. They could just get rid of Kevin Spacey's character because he is a very horrible man. Like he's vile, to be honest, but yeah, I've obviously you've never watched it, so.
I thought you just said you watched it all.
I haven't watched it.
I have watched it all. I got pretty into it. It became, the first few seasons were really addictive, and then towards the last, like, I think it's season 6 now.
Yeah, I think that's the one they're filming.
Yeah, and the last couple have been a bit like, but I've invested so much time into it now. I feel like I need to just carry on and go with it.
Do it all.
So yeah, it's not like with Game of Thrones that sort of started like that, and now I've got into it. I absolutely love it, and I can't wait for the next series. But yeah,
that's a bit like me with Walking Dead. Like the last series, I can acknowledge that it wasn't good like TV, but I was invested in like all the characters and everything that was going on, so I kept watching it, and now it's got good again. So yeah, that's a bit of side news.
Going back to his story, I really hope that he doesn't get swept on the rug, like, oh, he's come out great on it, good on him for coming out, which is.
I don't think people are really
Yeah.
reacting like that, though, are they? I don't
Well,
think people are that.
I've
That's
not really.
susceptible.
No, I think everyone's got the force behind them after Harvey Weinstein now. They're not going to let it blow over.
No, it's one of those where he's had a massive PR, like, he's got advisors who have told him to do it this way. So he's
Yeah.
aimed to go that way about it, hasn't it? And it's just a bit ridiculous. I think it's
Sorry.
just completely
Yeah.
wrong.
I agree. Yeah, it is just a wrong thing to do, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
whether you've got a company telling you to do it or not, and obviously there's no. It'd be hard for there to be a right thing to do when it's all done like 30 years
Yeah.
ago.
I
But-
suppose what you can take from this, which is like good in the way that people are reacting to it, is that all these celebrity cases are coming out now, and people are reacting negatively to them. They're not.
Just
They're
letting
not
it
being
blow
blown over because these people like have status in society and whatever.
Yeah.
So it's good. I think there might have been a time that these would have just been blown over and not even maybe like come into the media at all because the people are of high profile.
It's a bit disgusting that people can actually were able to get away with it, and like you say, it's a good
and
thing
some
that
still
it is
were
actually-
as well. weren't they? So
Yeah.
it's-
And it's coming out as well in like MPs and everything in Britain, isn't it? So it's it seems like it's rife in male society, like males like mindsets. It seems if they're
Of power.
of power, that they can just do whatever they want.
Yeah,
and
and that's not something you can fix easily. Do you know what I mean? That's like a societal problem you can't fix overnight.
no, but it's just like you say, it's a good thing that it's coming out now.
Yeah.
But it's just too little, too late, really. Well,
Yeah, the damage is done.
yeah,
The damage is done for the people who it's done to.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And Kevin Spacey's just come out and said, "Oh, I don't recollect it. I apologise for doing it." Is that really enough?
Yeah,
I don't really think
saying
so.
that he was drunk or whatever.
Yeah, it's still not acceptable. You're
No,
a 14-year-old
definitely
boy. You can't make advances and force yourself upon someone at that age.
No,
No.
Well, at
definitely.
any age, sorry.
No, yeah.
But especially not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Makes it
Definitely.
double wrong.
Yeah.
Makes
So-
it all kinds of wrong.
shall we
As a-
move on to our on a lighter note? Shall
On a
we?
lighter note, to
Well,
the next
slightly.
piece of news.
Slightly lighter, because at this
Well,
moment in
oh.
time, it's not been aired on telly when we're recording, has it? The
No,
break
I don't
off.
know. The article hasn't got any spoilers in it that we're getting it from. So basically, Bake Off, jumping off the discussion last week about Bake Off,
Yeah.
has been spoiled by Prue Leaf, who accidentally tweeted. I'm guessing she was trying to set up some sort of like yeah.
What's it called?
I actually
I can't
really
think of the
like
words.
Prue. You know, I think she's pretty good.
Do you fancy her?
Oh yeah, she's a saucy devil.
Dish.
But I don't mean say dish about women.
You would with Prue Leaf.
Well, I mean, it's fitting, isn't it? It's pudding.
I get it.
Right,
That's
pudding.
right. I said it as more of a cake. thing.
Angel cake. Slice of
soft,
that angel cake.
Spongy. Yeah. Would
Spongy.
you like her if you'd have seen the tweet? Basically, she accidentally tweeted out who won Bake Off.
I mean, like,
Um,
you had one job. You had one job.
Well, actually, he's got a lot of jobs.
Well, she's got two jobs. Present and don't let out the winner.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
Is that a
it's-
job, though? It's just part of her one
I
job.
think that
Yeah,
she's
true.
to be honest, from me I've watched all of Bake Off now, and I think it is pretty obvious who you more than likely is gonna win. So I suppose it was only a matter like it's just holding back, isn't it? Like everyone knows it's
But
really
Yeah.
gonna happen, but spoils the fun of the show. Does
it spoils the whole point of the show.
yeah.
Yeah.
It spoils the past however many
Yeah.
weeks and however many
Yeah.
hours you spent watching it.
Yeah.
And all the tension they built up over that sponge cake that you didn't know whether it was going to rise or not.
Whether they'd folded that
Egg
them
white
egg whites too
properly.
much.
I watched the meringue episode last night, and the tension about what are they going to crack. That poor guy who made like a hot air balloon, and then he made a chocolate wicker basket,
Yeah,
and the whole
yeah.
thing just melted.
Yeah.
Bless him, man.
He's like the best.
Is it?
Yeah. I think anyway.
You think he's the spoiler? I mean,
Yeah.
the spoilee.
Yeah, and I've not seen it yet because I don't want to see it. So don't spoil
Well,
it.
don't-
Dave.
Okay.
follow
I
Prue
don't
Leaf on
know.
Twitter.
The
Yeah.
article I read didn't have the actual. The tweet was censored. But yeah, it's not the first time it's happened either, because Mary Berry did it
Did
a
she?
few years ago.
I think we've got something to
yeah.
say
Yeah.
for hosts of a certain age on
Yes.
Twitter.
Well,
Don't let 'em
there
do
you
it.
go. Don't let them.
Well, they need a PR agency.
Yeah.
and
They
sort
do.
of stuff.
They need a man.
I'd put money on her not being on it
woman.
next year.
Yeah.
She's already been asked.
Well, it didn't. Well, I suppose it did.
Yeah, Mary Berry
It
was
did
gone.
get Mary Berry off in the long run,
Yeah.
but
Somebody put a picture up of Mary Berry like licking her finger, and it said, "When you find out Prue-Leaf's Twitter password."
that was quite funny.
Yeah, so
So,
was anything else on it, Billy?
No, not really. We can move straight onto film if you want.
she's
Yeah.
leaked the batter. No? Yes? Does that work?
Leaks the batter.
No. Edit that out.
Batter's like when you batter something, isn't
I'll
it? It's
batter
not really
you.
cake. Don't
Batter
batter
you
me.
if you don't shut up. Film.
Anyway,
Right, so
film.
Whiskey or
moving on
egg
to
whites.
film, and this is basically Billy's part of the show because
Because
every
nobody
single-
likes the Marvel
No,
films
because
apart from
Billy
me.
watches a film every single week.
Well, I'll have you know, I went to see Thor twice. It was
Yeah.
that good.
I only
twice.
have time to listen to the radio.
I was listening to Sean Keaveney this morning on Six Music, and he said that
Nice
it was
link.
really, really good.
It
I know.
is.
Well,
It's good.
he said he's sounds like he's similar to me, where he said like usually he just falls asleep in when he watches them with his kid,
Mhm.
and now like he paid attention and really enjoyed it.
So much has happened since I last saw you. I lost my hammer, like yesterday, so that's still pretty fresh. And then I went on a journey of self-discovery, where I met you.
Yeah, I'd say it is. It's probably so. It's Taika Waititi who obviously does.
Say that again, but slower.
Taika Waititi.
Okay.
So is that all right for you? Who's done What We Do in the Shadows, which is a really good film.
Oh yeah, you mentioned this to me.
yeah.
That was on BBC on Sunday night.
Yeah. Flight of the Conchords. And it is very much, you can tell by the dialogue that it's him.
Yeah.
Cause it has got like a very New Zealand sense of humour.
Yeah.
But like first and foremost, I'd still say it's probably a Marvel film more than it's a Taika
comedy,
Waititi
I like
film.
it.
Yeah, and it is a comedy. I'd say it's primarily like a comedy because the first two Thor films really have been sort of semi-serious, like fantasy, space Viking things.
Who
Yeah.
plays Thor?
Chris Hemsworth.
He is a dish.
Is he?
Now that's a
Yeah.
dish and a half right there.
Yeah.
Especially with his new hair in Ragnarok. Oof.
Big bowl
flowing
of Thor.
blonde,
Mm.
flowing blonde locks.
No,
Isn't
not
it
anymore
right
in
now?
Ragnarok. He's got short hair now.
He was in also
Ooh.
in what's that film with about I can't think the
This is a
film
good one.
I don't know which film you're talking about. Chris
the
Hemsworth's
racing
in what
the race
films?
Rush
Rush.
that was it that is a great film.
What's
That if you
Rush?
watch that
Well,
Rush
I've not
Rush
seen
it's
Rush, no.
it's like an F1 sort of film,
right,
but
okay.
it is really good. No, yeah, just
Oh.
watch that anyway.
There you go.
But-
Anyway, back to Thor Ragnarok.
Chris
So-
Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So I'll try and keep this short because I know you're not interested.
I don't
But
even know who you're talking about.
exactly. So
Danny can't say it. I don't know.
it continues.
fuck.
It's sort of a Thor and Hulk team up film because at the end of Avengers: Age of Ultron, Hulk went off on a jet into space because he decided he was too dangerous for the planet. And then it was a sad scene.
Oh,
And then he gets trapped on this garbage planet that
Yeah.
Thor ends up on because
I just
Hela, the goddess of death, comes back, who is Thor's sister, played by Kate Blanchett.
I think you would have lost me at this point in
yeah.
the film.
This is where it sort of like loses me. Like all these, I tried to watch the Avengers and stuff, and then when that happens, the Hulk decides to go to space. I just think, what? Why is this happening?
Well,
And
it
you
makes
know it's
sense if
because
you watch them all.
they want to make another film, I guess.
What?
Yeah.
The
Kind
Hulk
of.
on the planet of rubbish. The Hulk's lonely
Well,
tales.
So they can link it all together.
Hulk
and I
sulks.
just,
Well, it's kind of adapted from a. I get it.
I've
The
written a
Sulk,
sequel.
the Incredible
The
Sulk.
Hulk, the Incredible Sulk.
I get it.
Ah.
It's based on a comic book called Planet Hulk.
I'd
Basically.
be more disappointed if you didn't get it, Billy. It's
Yeah.
pretty
I
nailed
got-
on that.
I got it. I got it. I'm quite familiar with the joke. Yeah,
I think I was the first one to make that joke.
it's based on Planet Hulk,
in our,
basically, where
circles.
Hulk basically gets sent. He crashes on a planet and becomes like their king from being really strong and stuff.
Right.
So, yeah. Anyway, Kate Blanchett, goddess of death, starts destroying Thor's homeworld, and he has to try and get back there before she destroys everything.
Right.
I'd say the villain's probably the weakest part because she probably has the least jokes, and when
Is-
everyone else is saying jokes,
So is Tom Hiddleston the
he's Loki's.
villain, or
he-
is he a nemesis?
He's sort of
Thor.
an anti-hero. He was the villain in the Avengers.
Right.
He was the villain in the first Thor and Thor 2, kind of just because, and it's basically him that causes everything to start with. But
Yeah.
yeah, they sort of team up like they do in the second Thor as well
Oh right. So
to try and get off the planet.
it's a pretty star-studded cast, isn't it? Idris Elba as well.
Yeah, Idris Elba's in all of them. It is, yeah, like I say, it's probably a Marvel film first, but it doesn't take the sort of Thor lore. There you go.
No.
The lore of Thor.
Yeah.
It doesn't take it as seriously as the other two have.
The problem with me as well is, which I struggle, because Billy goes to the cinema all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
I don't have, like, Billy goes with
His boyfriend.
Zach, and I don't have anyone to go with, so it's either yes.
I'd go on mine.
No, but yeah, no. I suppose the cinema is probably the most acceptable place to be on your own because you don't speak to anyone. But then I always
The
feel like a
most
bit of a.
acceptable place to be on your own. I feel like there's
Yeah,
lots of
if you're
acceptable
gonna
places to be on
but you
your
know,
own.
if you're gonna go out and do something, the cinema's like a pretty
Okay.
good place to do it, isn't it?
I,
On your own.
I went out and had breakfast by myself this morning.
Yeah,
There you go.
that's a bit weird. Well, it's not weird. But like
Yeah, you're weird. Aren't you?
No, but it's I don't know if I'd feel entirely comfortable just sat having breakfast at a
I mean,
sat down meal.
Yeah.
I
I didn't wake up and go, I think I'll treat myself to breakfast.
Yeah,
I was going out and I was like, I'm hungry, I want some breakfast, so I stopped. Had
yeah.
breakfast by
It
myself.
depends if
That's
it
irrelevant.
was like a proper cafe where they come and bring food to you,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
was it like a prep where you just go
No,
and get
no,
your
it was a
food?
proper cafe where I
Oh,
sat
right,
down and
yeah.
ordered.
So that's a bit weird. I know
Okay.
we're
I
Going on a
feel
massive
strange
tangent.
slightly.
I feel
Yeah.
like every time we do films, me and Faith are just trying to like drag it away from the subject, and Billy's like, "No, let's go
I
on
think
to
this is the
Let's
furthest
talk
we've
about
got.
a film.
We've got from
for a
Thor to
change.
me having breakfast by myself. Can we tell you
But
what
yeah,
I had?
So yeah,
Just
I
link it all
just feel-
together by Chris Hemsworth, the dish coming over to you.
I don't feel like I have the courage to go on my own and just sit there on my own. I feel
Start
like
with
I'm-
breakfast and then you can go
Yeah.
through a
Work
Work
film.
your way up to the
treat
cinema.
yourself.
But
Work
it's
your way up to
spending-
the cinema and go watch Thor Ragnarok because it's a good
Today
film.
is a day on me.
Yeah, have a you day and like go for a meal by yourself.
Right. So
Yeah, and I'll just say that Taika Waititi gives himself the best role in the film. He plays
Is it?
Korg, which is a rock monster thing. And just the New Zealand accent makes me laugh. I don't know
Good
why.
name as well.
Yeah.
Daewakatiti.
Taika Waititi.
Taika
Yeah, he's-
Waititi.
I have I never really paid much attention to him, but now like I've sort of I've
I think a lot of
come
people
to know him
yeah.
a lot more.
Now
and
he's done
I
a
like-
Marvel film. I think lots of people are sort of jumping out his old films. I mean, like,
Yeah. Well, that In the Shadows is a brilliant film. I watched that. Oh, I'm sure we both watched it at a similar time, like a few
Yeah,
years
yeah.
ago, and it was good. Yeah.
it is very good. You can definitely tell that it's the same director.
Yeah.
Just probably on a bigger scale. And yeah, I think it's the highest. It might be the highest rated Marvel film now, or
Right.
one of them, because it really is that good. I like that Marvel still can sort of take chances on directors that aren't just like that do their own thing, and they
Mm.
still sort of do it within the constraints of the studio and whatever the broader universe thing's doing and whatever. But I
Yeah.
like how they sort of make the films a bit. I think they've definitely gone lighter in tone now. Like Spider-Man: Homecoming was really jokey and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think that's definitely the right direction. Someone when I was in the cinema, someone in front of me, you wait for the post-credit scenes in Marvel films. Someone as soon as the last shot
You know
ended,
about that thing that you do when you watch a Marvel
I
Yeah.
film.
didn't know this.
don't
I
you?
didn't know. No.
Basically they put a teaser for the next one at the end of the credits in all the Marvel films.
Right.
Ah,
And in literally every single one.
added bonus.
Yeah.
If you can be bothered.
Yeah.
And the guy in front of me literally, like the whole cinema waits afterwards, but the guy in front of me literally walked out with his girlfriend as soon as the last frame ended and went, they shouldn't have made it a comedy though. They shouldn't have made it a comedy. And it's like,
Yeah.
what? So you want your film about space Vikings that fight the goddess of death to be taken 100% seriously? And I just thought,
Yeah.
like, how can you not see that as a comedy? Like, I think that's definitely the best direction to go. And I
No.
think that was the best way that they could have done it. Because
Yeah.
another Thor film like the last one, it was fine, but it was kind of boring.
Yeah,
in
I feel
parts.
like if they branch off into comedy and stuff, it sort of appeals to a wider audience. And
I think that's what
People-
Marvel are best at, just doing films in different genres and different, making a different type of film each time, so it's not just the same man punches other man.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
we can go to the pub for that.
Music.
Right.
Anyway, moving on to your thing.
my thing.
Your thing.
Have you listened to this album?
I've glazed over it once or
Yeah.
twice, and I did like. I've never listened to Reverend and the Makers before.
Yeah, I also Reverend and the Makers, they brought their 5th album out, I think. Yes. Oh, it might even be
I think
longer than
this
that one too. Their 6th album, actually. Their 5th album was Mirrors, which was probably their best one since their debut, to be honest. And the 6th album was called Death of the King. It was out this year on the 22nd of September, so not too long ago. And it went to number 11 in the album charts. And I think this is I went seeing him last week, and he said it was the best performing album since the debut, and it has been. And I think it's the best thing about Reverend and the Makers. What I think is that they seem to change the sound a bit. Like, they don't sound, and like the Mirrors album, the one before, I'd never they completely went in a different direction, and like they've from now what they do in the live shows is they the set is like a proper mix, so it's like they don't stop playing for they will stop after about 7 or 8 songs, but then they just carry on playing and playing and playing, and I really like it, and it makes me makes me appreciate them as musicians, shall we say? Musicians.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that struck me about the latest album, that the energy never dropped without it being too over the top and in your face. It was sort of like a steady pace all the way through.
Yeah. And for me, I think the debut single off that album, which is called Old Reeky Blues, is a really good song. I think it is I don't know. I feel like I was listening to. There's a few songs like Monkey See, Monkey Do, and
That's the one that stood out to me.
Too Tough to Die. They sort of they feel like I've already heard them before, but I've not, and I don't know. They just seem very familiar.
Quintessential.
Yeah,
For Reverend and the Makers.
yeah, and I think it's a good thing. I do like it. And one of the finishing tracks, when I saw them, it was called Juliet Knows, and it is a really they go acoustic for a little bit. And it's like a really nice love song.
Oh.
And
A ballad, if you will.
yeah, and I was stood there and was like, that was the same as I think it's because I'd listened to their album about 3 or 4 times, and I sort of knew it, but not quite. And I was like, oh, I really like this song. I turned to some woman, I was like, what is this song? And she's like, it's off the latest album. And I
Some
felt
woman,
like
do you mean your
absolute-
girlfriend?
Yeah,
No,
I thought
no,
you
no.
were going to say, I turned to my girlfriend and I said,
No,
I love
no.
you.
It's
So
some
this woman
woman.
said, what is this song?
No,
Just some
I
woman.
could hear her behind me, like, singing her head off. So I was like, what is this song? So Emily was on the other side of me, and I was like, turned around to this woman who was like with her husband.
Did she go, who are you talking to?
She knew though. She told me straight away, and sort of, I felt like I wasn't. I felt like I didn't know enough then. Do you know what I mean? Like, I thought that she was. Probably,
If I knew then what I knew now.
This is off their most recent album.
Excuse me, love, who is this playing?
What's this band?
Yeah, what are they called?
When's May not getting on?
Where
You
are
just
we?
wait around after and everyone's gone. Woo!
And yeah, and so like Reverend and the Makers are a sort of a band. They came out just after.
Sort
the
of a band.
Sort of.
No,
Sort of a band
They're
thing.
a band that I sort of grew up with a bit. They came out like their debut album was just after Arctic Monkeys, a couple of years after, and Alex Turner actually wrote some of the songs, and he stars in some of the songs. So they sort of got me straight away anyway. But then I felt like I sort of stepped back from them, and then the last album, because they supported the Libertines. You missed that, didn't you? I
did. I went to Libertines, but I missed
we went to the
supports.
Libertines separately, me and Billy, and I went there and watched all the supports because I like Reverend, Makers and Blossoms, but Billy, for the first time ever, didn't see the supports.
It's not like you.
I know.
It's usually early with
I
a packed
know.
lunch.
Well early, and Roy Keane, isn't it? And then
Bit of Roy.
and then these last two albums have just like sort of rejuvenated me for them, and I really really like them. And they've sort of become one of my top 5 bands again now, which is a good thing, I think. And and also Reverend, like John McClure, the lead singer, he after a gig he busks.
Yep.
So he goes outside and
I wonder how much money does he take money?
no, he just
Oh,
stands
he just sings.
stands on like when I saw him,
That's
he
not
was
fair. It's like you've
stood
just
on like
charged me for a ticket.
at like a gas box on at the side of a he stood on top of like a gas box at the side of a lamppost, and so he played a song or two, and and I was like, me and Emily rushed out, and then he's walking past like back, and I was like, John ran over, and I was
You
like,
fangirling.
everyone was like giving high fives and stuff, like, get a picture,
Sign my breasts.
That really sounded like
showing my
Danny, actually.
cleavage.
Cleavage.
And
Cleavage.
so I was like, I had my phone out, I was like getting excited, so I just turned to Sam and he's like, yeah. I'm like, John, let me have a picture. And he's like, right. But he's carried on walking, and he just like stuck his thumb up, and it turns out that you can't. It could have been a picture of anyone because he's just a blur.
Yeah, it's Danny in a blurred figure.
And you just see me like proper loving
the mist
it.
descended and you ran over to him.
And Emily had the cheats to blame me. I was
It
like,
probably
how's
was
it my
you.
fault?
How many did you had by then?
I don't know, about 5.
Well, then.
That's enough.
Probably a lot more. But oh no, we were. They have happy hour quite a lot in a lot of places. For like at 6 o'clock in London. So we were on 2 for 1 Zombies. So that was it, wasn't
There
it?
you go.
The end of my night there.
5 of
and
them
then
is.
we had 2 of them each. Bosh, how were anybody's?
Just the woman behind him, mainly.
No.
Getting back slightly on topic,
I'm a
I could
one-man woman.
definitely hear some Arctic Monkeys in probably the way he sings, just because they're from Sheffield.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were from Sheffield. I was listening to them.
Yeah.
But I can hear some sort of Arctic Monkeys semblance in them. But I think instrumentally they're quite interesting, aren't they? There's a lot of instruments,
Yeah.
and a lot of different tones
They're
mixed.
quite a big band. Like I think there's about 5 or 6 members. 5 members, yeah. And John McClure, the lead singer's wife, is part of it, and she's like does piano and she does saxophone as well, which is I think it's good. It's a different sort of sound to what you usually get.
His wife plays the sax.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And like they've obviously been in the band since the start, shall we say? But they one thing that I've found as well, that Old Reeky Blues and stuff like that, they've I think which one is it? I think it's Ed Cozen's. He sings on it, and I think he's possibly better than John McClure in some of the songs what he brings out. I've actually started liking his voice more than John McClure's, but his voice is more chilled out and a bit like more ballady.
Yeah, there's definitely a sort of a more of a mixture of sounds than what you'd usually get on indie rock sort of things.
Yeah.
There's some like heavier guitars, and then there's some synths, saxophones, whatever.
Yeah. All in all, it's I think it's a good album. It's not like a great album, I don't think, but it's a good album to listen to, and it's good, like I'd say a solid 7-8 out of 10.
That's what I got from listening to it.
A
I didn't.
lot of prior thought has gone into this.
I need more of a listen for me.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to it
need
enough, but it's made me.
listen.
You need to
I'm
listen
sorry,
at all.
I've not done my homework.
You
I've got an excuse.
You
then.
need to listen at all. But it has made me want to listen to more of them and listen to more of that album as well.
I definitely recommend it. Like the Mirrors album is a great album, and also some of the songs which I'd never heard about were brilliant though, and I really enjoyed it. There's off one of, I think it was their second album, they brought out I don't really want to. It's called Silence is Talking, but it features the classical. Do you want me to do it? It's like da 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 da
We all know what song you're
Yeah.
talking about now.
So, and
We just
honestly,
wanted you to do it.
it was brilliant. I loved it. I was like, everyone on the tube home was singing it. And I was like, yeah,
Going for it, you were.
it is a really good song.
Is
so
that before or after the zombies?
after this was on the way home? And so Silence is Talking is a great song off the second album. They've supported a lot of massive bands, but they've not quite made the leap into being one of them massive bands. But yeah, they seem to be getting better and better. So we'll wait and see.
And you'll be there right at the front when they do.
Not knowing the song. Going to the one behind you. What song's this? Hey, love.
Another thing what makes me really like him is, you know how I'm very political.
Politically incorrect.
Yeah, I can go like over the top sometimes, which I agree with him, but he goes all the time. He's like shoving it down people's throats. So I think he is a controversial character. Like some people dislike him because of it, but I sort of.
What do you say is a bit preachy for a reverend?
Ooh.
Hey, I did a joke. You're not the only one who can do jokes, Faith.
You made a joke, and on that thing, I think we'll end.
Yeah, so that's Reverend and the Makers, The Death of a King, and that is out now. Get on Spotify and everything, give it a listen.
Get on it.
Yeah, and don't forget to tweet us at E to the G podcast. That's our Twitter handle, isn't it?
It is.
We never even talk about our Twitter handle, but yeah.
Does anyone tweet off it?
Shameless social media plug. We
Yeah,
tweet
from
when
time to
a
time.
new podcast comes out.
Okay.
So yeah, it is at E to the G podcast. So yeah, make sure you tweet us and follow us if you are enjoying the show.
Yeah.
But
Anyway.
if you're not, then don't.
Yeah, please don't. Please don't.
Please
if
don't.
you
If you don't,
We don't
like
want
it.
you there.
We don't want haters.
Kidding. Please come back.
Right.
Anyway, thanks
So-
for listening for this week.
For
this week.
I thought.
Moo.
Smooth. This is a smooth transition into the end.
So,
So,
Can you
yeah.
tell me what a long day? We'll have a long day. Danny's
You've
had a
had
long
one.
day.
I've not.
I
I've had
have
quite
had
a
a
short
long day.
day.
Billy's had his marigolds on today cleaning.
I have.
And his fluffy slippers.
And his nipple tassels.
Hey.
Hey.
Alright, where'd that come from? Anyway,
Don't know,
And
you
on that
tell me.
note,
on
I
that
want to
note,
know.
on that note,
have that image. We'll be tweeting that image out shortly.
if that's not an incentive to follow us on Twitter, I don't know what is. Thank you very
Yeah.
much for listening, and I hope you can join us again next week.